And let's look at two of the cool features you have access to when sending emails. The first is trigger links, and the second is snippets. Let's see how we can use them together in an example to better send emails. First, click on trigger links. When we use trigger links, and our customers click on them, we can trigger events, or in this basic use case, we can just see how often the links are opened compared to when they're not. At my media company, for example, I've just imported a list of contacts that were potentially interested in podcast sponsorships. Let's create an email that I can send to those interested, and inside that email, there will be a link for pricing information. When I use a trigger link to show the pricing, I'll be able to see how many people clicked on the link from within that email. So let's go up here to add link. I'll call this podcast pricing info. And for the link URL, you could link to the pricing page on any one of your service websites, but I'll just use an example site here and click save. So that creates our trigger. Now, let's add that trigger link that we just created within a snippet. A snippet is a reusable block of text. So if we make a snippet to use that trigger link, we'll be able to quickly send an email follow-up to anyone who expresses interest in sponsoring our episodes. Go up here to the Snippets tab, then click Add Snippet, Add Email Snippet. I'll name this snippet Podcast Pricing Info. For the subject, I'll fill in still interested in sponsoring. And then in the body, I want to add the contact name as a custom value. So click Custom Values, Contact, Full Name, and this will populate the contact name when we create this snippet. Then I'll fill in the rest of the email. And here I want to insert the trigger link that we just created. So I'll go here to Trigger Links and click Podcast Pricing Info, and that will insert the trigger link. Then when I'm happy, I'll scroll down and click Save. And if we refresh, we can see the snippet that I just created. Now, let's actually send this snippet to my test contact so that I can show you what it looks like. And then we can test the trigger link. Go back to Conversations and click here to create a new message, create a direct message, and I'll enter my test user down here. Click Continue. I'll select Email, and then this button here will insert a snippet. This podcast pricing info is the snippet we just created, and just like that, our email is ready to go, and then we'll be able to see if this recipient clicks on this link. I'll send this email now, and then I'll log in under this inbox and click the link so that we can analyze it. So I'll click Send. Now I'll log into the email inbox that I use for test user, and we'll see what that email looks like. So here's the email, still interested in sponsoring. If I open it, the contact name is filled in, and this is our link for the trigger. So if I open this in a new tab, this should bring us to Google, because that was our test URL. Let me close this. I'll close my inbox. And then in Conversations, we want to go to the drop-down under Trigger Links and click Analyze. And here we can see that that click was registered. If I scroll down, this was our link, and that's the click. So over time, if you're sending a lot of these sponsorship inquiries out, this will give you a good idea if people are actually clicking to view your rates.